It's just grapefruit.
Yeah.
It's grapefruit. She's like, oh, somebody squeezed a grapefruit into this.
And like, that's what it is.
It was a stale grapefruit.
Yeah, that's exactly what we said. It was like
I said I think it's been rotted. It's a little rotten grapefruit.
And what got me
Are we
though
videoing?
was
I turned on the recording.
what got me was the smell.
Oh.
Like, because it smells like
It
an
does
ale.
smell like
Welcome to the show.
Like when you're smelling it from the can, it smells like an ale, and then all of a sudden you take a sip and it's not beer, and it's just like
Do you
this
want this?
weird taste.
It's bad. It's bad. But yeah, welcome back to the show. We have a special guest this week, and there we go. Yeah,
Mr.
that's all.
Louis. I'm always going to call you
That's
Mr. Louis. I'm sorry.
That's the intro, and then now we start.
Mr. Louis.
We just talk and do what we were doing.
What was I saying?
Before I
I tell you something
interrupted
very
it?
important.
You said you were going to tell me something very important. You took a sip of that, and you were
That
going to tell you
knocked it
something.
right out.
Yeah, that
Who even knows
flavor,
anymore?
It doesn't.
Who even knows anymore?
I don't even know. I really don't, but it was important. It
What?
was really good. I'm serious. It was really good.
Well,
Well, let's go back up. You know the old.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to rewind. We were talking about eyesight. We were talking about...
No. It was not that far back. It was something
Oh.
you were just saying just now.
I thought I was saying.
We're talking about narcissism.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
we're talking about
yeah.
narcissism.
Catering business? Does that jar it? Catering business? Cruises?
No, because it was after that. It was
It
after
was
that.
after cruises, after catering.
I
Well, I
don't
took
know.
this test and learned that this other person was a narcissist in
Okay.
that season.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, but the thing, let me tell you, narcissist. Here's how you can identify narcissists. You have to look closely, but every single thing that they do benefits them, even if it appears to benefit you. An example, maybe let's just talk about Christianity because I was a pastor.
Yeah.
So maybe you're an associate pastor or something like that, and they encourage you to do something. Okay, and you think, man, this is awesome. I'm spreading my wings. But if you can trace it back to, like, let's just say they're like, oh man, if he does this radio show, like he's gonna explode. He's a great teacher. He's gonna explode, and then they
And since it's sponsored, it's sponsored by our church.
by
So they're
First
gonna
Church of the whatever.
So then they'll come to the church and tithe and give us money.
Exactly. Oh, you know the whole drill.
It made you
perfect
into
sense.
it. But I get what you're saying because it really comes down to the whole like
That makes so much sense.
they're looking at it as in almost a long-term goal where they're like, you doing this will benefit me over time.
The way you can pretty much eliminate narcissists is to look at it and go, you know what, they're doing this and this has absolutely no benefit to them. You call your friends. You say, hey man, can you help me move? That friend shows up to help you move. A lot of times that person is not going to be a narcissist because why is he helping move? Unless he's like, if he's the kind of person who's going to be, hey, remember I helped you move? But see, a good life,
I was going to say, those people, you will notice those things.
Yes. A good life rule never remind someone of a favor
I agree.
that they did for you. Never remind them. Hey, remember that time now here you go. Never remind a friend of a favor. Just ask them for a favor.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
remind them. And if they go, no man, not able to, hey, I helped you move.
Right. That's
I
the friendship that we
him
have.
and I, because like we've helped each other move, we've given money to each other and stuff like that. Where it's like, I've had moments where I've just didn't think about anything. He's had moments where we didn't think about anything, and then one day I brought it up to him, and I'm like, I think I owe you money because
what the crap are you talking about?
So much stuff.
What the crap talking? Well, I mean that's I learned that from was it Proverbs? Proverbs where it was like never loan money to someone and expect it back. Which I know
not
that's
in Proverbs, but it is. I believe the Apostle Paul said that.
Okay.
He said never loan money, but he said when you loan money, don't expect to be repaid. But it might be in Proverbs.
I don't remember exactly, but I took that.
But that's
meaning
been my life thing.
I took that as meaning like if you're going to do a favor for someone, don't expect a return.
It's not a favor.
Yeah. I guess it's not a favor.
If you're going to do something for someone.
Don't expect anything
Instead,
back.
it's an agreement, a contract.
That's a good point.
It's like, hey, I'm going to help you move, but you're going to help me move. Now, granted, you should help someone move.
Well, obviously, yeah.
If they helped you
One
move.
of the things about buying a truck was I was like, well, now I'm the guy with the truck that everyone's going to be like, hey, by the way, since you got that truck, can you help me do this thing? And I'm like, yeah, I'll help you do that
Until
thing.
they saw what was in the back of your truck, they're like, hey,
never mind. Never mind. I don't want to put it up in there.
Never mind, we'll rent something.
You got any blankets? No, yeah.
No,
but interesting, yeah.
Nobody borrows blankets from me. They're like, oh, you have a dog.
Yeah, no, I don't want to buy. I don't want your
Yeah,
blankets. Yeah, no, not going to happen.
Wait, does that change that?
Yeah, dog
I
fur
don't
on
think
everything.
it would depend on what the blankets are for.
Like, I don't put it on my cashmere sweaters or anything.
You cashmere sweaters.
So what's the topic? Is there a topic?
Well, I was going to ask James to go ahead and pull up. Well, I did have one thing that I just thought of, which when you were talking about
Members Mark?
narcissism of where
Narcissism.
tithing and stuff like that. I actually was reading the news, and someone has started, I think, a website where they are pointing out the dollar amount of all the items of preachers that are on. What do you call that? Mega churches where they're televangelists. Like they were pointing out, like this dude has $30,000 boots, and stuff like that.
Oh,
where they're,
yeah, there was one about tennis shoes.
Yeah, where they were pointing
Elevation Church, they had him on there.
it was.
He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he had like whatever $8,000 tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Maybe 800.
Maybe 800, but still.
That's
But dude, the one I saw was a dude wearing boots, some pastor wearing boots that were $30,000 boots. And it's like, holy crap.
Man,
like,
it's like, okay, so Paul in the Bible gives a good solution to that. He's like, if you're going to be in ministry, how about don't do that? No, he is. He said, because you're going to be judged more strictly. He doesn't, but you know what? He's not against capitalism.
Right.
But you know what he did? Like Paul, he had a ministry building tents. Because in that day and age, tents were popular.
Yes, they were.
Because it was way cheaper to like put up a tent and live in it, do a ministry in it, do life in it, sell your ox turtle skins or whatever it is.
Well, in a tent.
In a tent.
It's so useful.
And you can move because, hey, there's a storm coming. We're moving the bazaar over here by the caves.
It makes perfect sense. So he sold tents.
But he sold tents. But you know what? He sold tents and never, according to at least what we call canonized scripture, he never took a salary in his ministry. And yet he...
Oh, in his ministry. So, because he was making profit off tents.
He made a profit off, and he never said how much he made, which I think was pretty good because he could do his ministry pretty much how he wanted and live in jail. He could be in jail, and he'd tell him, he's like, hey, I'm in jail, bring this to me. But he wasn't like, I'm suffering here, my investments are going down. He's like, hey man, bring this and bring that and bring that. He's like, bring my scrolls, bring my clothes.
He owned a tent company.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. He owned a tent company. He did. And he even said, look, I'm not going to, he was kind of a little boastful, not in a bad way, but he was like, I'm not going to let anybody steal this boast from me. When I came there and ministered to you, I never took up an offering for myself. I never charged you anything. My tents paid the fee.
Wow.
Now, ministers, they don't like to preach that.
No.
Sorry to say, a lot of ministers don't like to say that.
Well, it's because their money usually comes from tithing and other
Yeah, because most ministers, at least in the modern age, don't have their own business. Their business is the church.
Right. But now, see, that's the problem.
The business is the church. And
it's like when I heard a minister say, and someone we know, I'm not going to name names. But this person said, oh man, it's kind of scary when you look across the congregation and you see that's your livelihood and you don't want to lose any of them. Wait, what does livelihood mean?
That's how you survive.
That's your job. That's your money.
Income,
That's how you make the
bread.
bread.
They're paying for my house and my food.
Yeah. It's like you're like, okay, I'm not going to say anything that offends them. Well, what if the Bible says something that offends them?
Right.
Well, we're going to leave that out this week.
Oh, and that's where we get into some weird stuff that I've seen going on.
And stuff like that starts getting shady.
Exactly.
That's when they leave off That's when they leave off the tithing scriptures in Deuteronomy, and I think it's 32, but I don't know how much. I think it's Deuteronomy 32, where it said there's several uses for the tithe. One, give it to the Levites because they can't own land according to the law. Now, let's just do a little caveat. Do you know what caveat means? It's not caviar.
A caveat, like an aside?
It's a little aside. That's right. A little aside, a little footnote here. A caveat. Caveat is there's only one group of people that the Old Testament ever applied to in terms of legalism. The
Jewish people?
Jews, the Hebrews, the Jews.
Yeah.
Right, the Jews. Which is funny because it's like...
But also, what about the Ninevites?
But being a Jew, you can be a Jew and not be a whole Jew. Because like if I said to you, and I did this joke for years and then I heard a comedian say it.
Okay.
But like you could say, like, okay, yeah, she's not small, but she's smallish.
Right.
I mean, she's not really small, but she's smallish, right?
Yeah.
But he's not a Jew, but he's Jewish.
They're Jewish.
He's a Jew, but he's Jewish. I mean, it's one of the few things you don't actually have to be that. You can just be kind of a Jew.
Yeah,
He's
without
Jewish. Anyway, so they're the only people that ever had the old covenant, the old law, whatever.
Yeah, apparently they decided to keep following it.
Some of them, yeah.
Which I think is silly.
So according to the tithe,
who
you
am
gave
I?
the tithe to the Levites.
Okay,
So
that's
people
interesting.
because they were forbidden to own land.
Very interesting.
So give them
So
money to
they
survive.
couldn't have a business. They
okay.
couldn't have anything.
Was
Like
that-
these dudes.
Were they forbidden by the caliphate? Is that what they're called?
Caliphate? Are you talking about Islam? I'm not sure. You might be
Well,
Jewish.
what's the
They
other
were
thing?
forbidden by the Torah, which
Okay.
was Moses' law.
Well, what's it called whenever the
might be
rulers
caliphate.
of I thought it didn't matter what if it's a religious rule.
Halal, which
Oh,
means permissible.
Yeah.
In the the Islam faith.
Yeah.
Halal.
But yeah,
You
so
can-
the
you can have the
Torah
ham sandwich
banned
if it's turkey ham.
only turkey ham, no
So
pig.
the caliphate, I think you might be right. That which then would have been called like the high priest council or
Right.
something.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, you're
Those
right.
are the people
But
that
I don't
said
know.
the Levites
See, this
can't.
is when y'all need to be Googling stuff.
Well, that's what
Caliphate.
Bear Thing's for, and
Well,
he's not here.
I didn't know if you wanted
There
me.
you
I didn't know if you wanted
That's
me
not
to
very
Google caliphate or
Please do,
Deuteronomy
'cause I'm
32
like-
tithing.
Oh yeah, do Deuteronomy. Is it 32?
Actually, it's from what I don't know. This is Deuteronomy 14, 22, 23.
Okay, so maybe it's 14.
But is that what you were looking for?
Oh man, why don't I just pull Kit? I can't leave.
What
Kit
did you
alone.
pull?
No, but we're
you can look
getting
at whatever. I don't care.
we're getting close to the end of the episode.
Fort Lauderdale spring break. What is this?
What is
Why
this?
No.
Hello.
Tithing in the Bible.
Because we record.
Are we allowed to go
20
and
to
get my
30 minutes.
Bible? I mean,
Yeah, we can talk about what we.
Yeah, we only record
'Cause I can
20 to
pull it
30
up right
minutes,
away.
and then we can.
Well, anyway, here's what it says, and we can look it up later. But anyway, it might not be 32, it might be 14. But it basically says, here's the purpose of the tithe. You give it to Levites who can't own land. You give it to widows because they're not married. Back then,
so
women
they
had very little rights.
Right, so there's not real income.
You give it to orphans because they don't have a family to
Yeah.
support them. And it said in the so many year, which might have been like the 7th year or something like that, it said, take your tithe and purchase hard drink, including beer and liquor.
Wait, what? This is
No, that's why I'm saying. give me my
we okay. Yeah,
phone
we've
and
got to
I'll
pull
look it
this up. We
Okay.
totally have to pull it. We'll pull up Caliphate real
Yeah,
quick.
no,
Yeah. You know what you're looking for. I know.
Yeah, I would like.
I
you to
don't
pull up
know these
Caliphate, though.
Android stuff.
I know you're an iPhone for some reason.
Okay, look, Caliphate.
It's the worst part about you.
Android.
Is that he uses iPhones. Gosh, we
right.
just talked about how we don't like Apple.
No, like I would love to have an Android where when photos come in, it says loading, 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 loading.
That's
loading.
very true. He sent
Okay,
me pictures the other
Caliphate
day.
is an Islamic state.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So
But what is the word I'm thinking of? Because there is totally a word for it.
there is a word, and I
Where-
think it starts with a C. Here, I'm going to give it to you right now.
Okay. Because it's just it only means that it's a religious hierarchy that runs the government.
Yeah.
It's whatever that word is. That's
Sanhedrin.
cabal?
was-
Sanhedrin. That might have been what
They
I was
were the
thinking of.
assemblies. They were also known as the council or the Sanhedrin.
Yeah, I think Sanhedrin is what I was thinking of then. Yeah, because now that I've already
And there
forgotten
were,
the
back
other
then there
word,
were
Caliphate.
Did you know there were Pharisees and Sadducees?
Yes.
Yes.
And
I actually
Sadducees
always
didn't
wanted
bel-
to know what the difference was between the two. I
Sadducees
never
didn't
knew.
believe in the resurrection. They believed once you died, that was it. Even though they were Jewish and believed in God, Elohim.
So they didn't believe in an afterlife in that sense.
That's why they were Sadducee.
okay.
That's why they were Sadducees.
I just never understood because I was like Sadducees and
But they didn't really survive because
That's
today's
funny,
modern
yeah.
day rabbinic Jew came exclusively from Pharisees. The ones that have like the curls,
Yes,
and the
yeah.
hat, and all that.
Yeah.
they're
And the
Pharisees.
dangly things on their shirts.
But see, if someone said, "Hey, if Jesus was raised from the dead, then maybe we could be raised from the dead," and they'd say, "That's fair, you see."
Okay, that was lame. I like
The
that.
Sadducee was a little better. Okay, Sanhedrin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Sanhedrin were the ones that said the Levites can't own land because it's in the Torah.
Right.
But the Torah was written by Moses. Right?
It wasn't written
Or
by Moses.
Noah.
It was dispensed to Moses. It was
Right. Yes. Yeah.
by Yahweh.
But hold on. I thought the Ten Commandments are what?
Well, technically, he went up to the mountain twice, didn't he?
He did because
Well, he broke them the first time.
Of course, if you
'Cause he
watch-
got mad.
if you
Smash
watch
whatever.
them, if you watch I think it's either History of the World or it's The Life of Brian.
Life of
There
Brian
were
was pretty
15
funny.
commandments. And then he dropped one and broke it. He's like,
10.
He goes, God gives you these 15 commandments. 10. God gives you these 10 commandments. Okay, so here's what it says. Use Deuteronomy 14:26. Use the silver to buy whatever you like. Cattle, sheep, wine, or other fermented drink, or anything you wish. Then you and your household shall eat, therefore, in the presence of the Lord your God and rejoice. That's NIV. Let's look at the King James, because, some people are like, hey,
Only the King
I'm only
James.
gonna speak
Only King
Paul's
James counts.
spoke.
Yeah, I'm only going to speak what Paul spoke. King James.
Old language.
Because he was speaking
Because he was
16
clearly-
or 1495 English.
English. Yeah, he was speaking
And thou
old
shalt
English.
bestow the money for whatever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen or sheep or wine, or
Wow.
It says, look, or for wine, or for strong drink. So you don't hear many pastors
Wow,
say
they
one
just-
of the purposes of tithe is to go buy your liquor and
And
get a little
cattle.
tipsy, because you can't get drunk, you got to get buzzed.
Yeah.
He's saying get buzzed and celebrate God in your buzziness.
But
That's so.
I like
that's something
Look,
crazy.
look
to me.
what-
But
What
it's
that
also
is.
it's pointing out
Have you ever heard that
livestock
scripture?
though. No.
No, not at all.
Why
But
is that left out? Why would that be left out?
Because it's sacrilegious to drink.
But I'm gonna tell you why, because of Thomas Welch,
Thomas Welch. That's a familiar
who
name.
invented Welch's grape juice.
That's right. And he
Whole reason why
for communion he sold grape juice to them instead of wine. We do need to take a break, don't we?
It is about that
No,
time.
this is a good.
We do need to take a break.
Sponsored by Maker's Mark. Every bottle is different.
Not sponsored. We're not sponsored. Disavow. Disavow.
Every bottle is different.
Every bottle is different though, because they just
We
fluctuate
do it
in
in small
quality.
batches. We do by the bottle batches. This is a batch. Let's go to that little barrel.
Yeah.
There's the next bottle.
Gosh dang, very, very
Before you take a
inconsistent.
break, why would pastors not mention that you could use 10% of your income to buy? Now, why would he say buy cattle or sheep?
I mean, how-
to eat?
I mean, because
to have
but
steaks.
But also, if you're buying livestock, then that is potentially giving you more income in the future as well.
Also,
you're
I think
reinvesting in
I think it
yourself.
was to eat.
But it did sound like what
I
you were
want to point
saying
out
was
that
that it's
also,
to have a
though,
feast
like
and
at least from
celebrate.
what I remember growing up, the pastors always told us to do 10% of our money.
Minimum.
And, yeah, and so
Minimum.
like, if 10% was also made for
Because that's
us to
the
go
tithe.
eat,
That's the
But do you
10%
know-
is the tithe. What about the offering?
Which is
a totally different.
okay.
Totally different
So do
thing
you
at that
know
point.
what's interesting to me is they always say, "Well, Abraham tithed to Melchizedek." I don't know if you know who Melchizedek is. If you look in, I think it's in Hebrews.
That does sound familiar.
Melchizedek was the priest with no beginning and end, and Melchizedek was a type and a shadow of Jesus, a priest with no beginning and end. His reign never began and never ended. He was just eternal. He was eternally. It's Melchizedek. It's in Hebrews. Now he says that.
Sounds like
okay,
Moloch.
so now, so the reality is that Abraham tithed to Melchizedek. That's what happened. That's where the 10% comes from originally. He tithed to
Didn't
Melchizedek.
Abraham-
And they're like, Abraham is a child of faith. He believed God, and it was credited to him as being right in the eyes of God. He just believed God. That's what made him right. He believed what God said was true, and that made him righteous or
Yeah,
right.
and didn't we actually looked into the word righteous the other
Yeah.
day over a
We
dispute.
had a dispute about
It
it.
means right?
Yeah.
Being made right.
Yeah.
Or legally.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
condemned.
It was quite an argument. Anyways, isn't Abraham the one
Yes,
that?
and you're right.
No, neither of us were
No.
right. We were
What y'all
both
think
not
righteous
righteous.
Well, because we were debating really what it came down to, how it means to be righteous and not the exact wording.
The more specific thing was that I was saying that we, as human beings, have rights that are not granted by the state and they are granted by God. And he said that's a terrible wording. And we had this long debate on how, no, we don't have rights, blah, blah, blah. And then Prather was over and he looked up rights and he was like, it's just a shorthand term for righteous. And we both were like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, we agree. That's the abridged
But
version.
technically in the Bible.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, isn't Abraham the one that took his son up to sacrifice him?
yeah, Isaac.
So that makes him righteous.
What
Because he
made him-
listened to God. Because
what
God
made-
said, well, kill your kid.
What he made him righteous was that he just believed God. Like he was like, God, you alone can make me right.
Even
where
though
I-
during the time there was other people sacrificing their children to false gods.
Right.
I don't understand that quite.
Yeah, I actually want to question that as well. It's like, how did he know that who he was praying to was the right?
No, he absolutely, I believe he believed in the resurrection. He's like, this God is going to bring my kid back because God told me that this kid Isaac was going to be the father of many nations.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not the father.
So when God said,
he's the father.
So when God said kill them, he was going to be like,
He's like-
his thought process was like, he's going to bring him back somehow.
He had to believe in the resurrection. There's no other way you can say, okay, Abram meant father. Abraham meant father of many nations. If it ends with him, if I kill him, that's it. Except for a bunch of Islams through Ishmael.
Yeah, which is a different
it's like-
story.
Yeah, it's like if I kill this guy, I'm not the father of many nations. I'm the father of a guy I killed.
Yeah.
So he had to absolutely believe in the resurrection. And of course, God was like, "This guy's taking it too far." Because as soon as he says, "Whoa, whoa, okay, you proved your
Don't do
point.
that.
Yeah, you really will do it, won't you?
do it." I mean, he was going to kill his son because
yeah,
he
but see,
believed
that's-
God. And God
That's what
said,
I don't understand.
"God said, you know what? This guy believes that I am, and that I will keep my word."